Oh boy, I've been wanting to do this one for a while, and what better time than the 2-year anniversary of its release. I heard a lot of good things about Celeste, not exaggerating, and after seeing some gameplay I knew it would be a game I would definitely enjoy. Well, I finally put the time in to beat it, but did it live up to my expectations? Welcome to Beating the Backlog, and today we're looking at Celeste.
Oh, come on, dude! Are you kidding me?
Welcome to Beating the Backlog, and today...
Why? What the frick? Are you kidding me, dude? Oh.
Excuse me, man, do you mind?
Sorry, it's just... This game, man. This game is brutal. I just lost 3 whole seconds on this level. The run's over, dude. Are you kidding me?
Welcome to Beating...
Oh, are you reviewing this game? Can I join? I love this game. It's my favorite game ever. Despite what I just showed. Hey, what's going on there, guys? My name is KingJ0444, and I love Celeste.
They were looking at Celeste, played on PC, enjoy. Without going too deep into the plot, I gotta say I'm really impressed with it considering the fact this is a rage platformer at heart. Madeline's journey up Celeste Mountain is wonderfully told, and the story itself reflects on some rather heavy-hitting themes regarding depression and other aspects of the human psyche. I was really surprised to see this coming from a platforming game, and the big positive here is that I had an incentive to just keep playing the game. A lot of platformers just overlook that, but here, I actually cared for these characters who were very well written and developed, I might add. And I was just always looking forward to the dialogue and just story itself. It had its heartwarming moments, its sad moments, its funny moments. I really can't find anything to complain about relating to the story here. It's just absolutely fantastic through and through.
Celeste also does a great job of weaving its story into metaphors throughout the game that only people who go through having depression, like myself, would realize their first time through. Like the mountain being tough parts of your life that you're trying to pass, and the main antagonist being the worst parts of yourself holding you back, which makes the story more personal and thought-provoking throughout.
Oh, the gameplay. Oh, it's so good. It's essentially like all other rage platformers. You got the tight controls and tricky screens, and lots of death. You will die. Seriously, you will die. You will be desensitized to death by the end of this game, which is bizarre considering you get some rather gruesome deaths in this game that Madeline can meet. You could be impaled on spikes, being eaten by whatever the fuck that thing is.
I just jumped into a spike!
But hey, don't worry, Lo. As the game says, the more you die, the more you're learning. The game is always encouraging you to keep pushing on through the hard parts, which is helpful in the later chapters for sure.
However, like the other good rage platformers, the game introduces its mechanics gradually, and it always makes sure you know how they work before truly testing your abilities. Each chapter basically has its own new mechanic, and there's really just too many to talk about in this one little video. I will say some of them were more fun than others. The dream blocks in Chapter 2 were really good, but the wind in Chapter 4, not so much. As for basic mechanics, you have jumping, obviously, climbing, which lets you climb walls, obviously, and it uses stamina. You run out of stamina, you fall off the wall, and probably die. You can also dash, which is where this game really sets itself apart. It's not the only platformer to have a dashing mechanic, but in this game it's just super satisfying when you pull it off properly. And there are a bunch of intricacies with it I really can't get into. Dashing is essentially a way for the game to keep you off the ground as much as possible, and like I said, it's just super satisfying in general to perform and execute and all that jazz.
The thing that's mainly appealing to me is the fact that Celeste is basically built for speedrunning with its movement. It seems simple on the outside when you first play through it, but once you get to the later B and C sides of the game, the developers teach you how to do some speed strats like hyper dashing, jumping out of dream blocks, and wall bouncing to gain speed and momentum. You always had access to these set of moves, but the game only decides to introduce you to them once you've proven yourself good enough to learn them. It makes second playthroughs way different, and you'll never play this game the same way again.
There aren't really any enemies in this game. The environment is pretty much your prominent obstacle throughout the entire game. Now that being said, there are some things in this game that could qualify as enemies and even bosses, I guess. Chapter 5 has the spooky monsters that show up in the second half, and a couple of chapters end in boss fights. It's kind of like Super Meat Boy in the sense that they're not really boss fights, but they kind of are. My favorite was probably Chapter 6's fight with Madeline's bad side. It was really cool seeing how they made it really felt like a boss battle in a platformer. It felt like an actual fight. Now that being said, I do feel like it kind of dragged on a little too long, but it was still really sick. The game also has quite a few collectibles and extra levels to take on. For some of the extra levels, you need to collect items to actually play them or progress in them. And to be honest, it's a rage platformer. I'm not planning on doing 100% anytime soon. I'd rather keep my sanity, but it does look really fun, albeit difficult, and you gotta appreciate that they give that extra content.
He's for sure right about that. Each level has a set of strawberries, a B-side cassette tape, and a crystal heart to collect, and some of them are very cryptic and out of the way. The B-side cassettes even unlock harder versions of each chapter, which I alluded to earlier, and some of them truly test your skill later on. And if you're insane like me, you might go for golden strawberries, which you get for beating each chapter and each side of each chapter with no deaths.
Get on my level.
Yeah, as if I haven't already gushed over this game hard enough, let me talk about the visuals. They have no right to look this goddamn good. They aren't terribly complex either. The game takes this retro look that a lot of indie games, like Shovel Knight and all that, have been going for recently. But man, oh man, this game in particular is just so gorgeous. The sprites, the backgrounds, the effects, the lighting. There's just so much to talk about here. Nothing is hard to tell apart. The game is generally just eye candy through and through. It's so hard to complain about this game's graphical style. And to top it all off, the soundtrack. Now, I'm a music guy, I love a good music piece now and then, and I could not believe how good this game's soundtrack was. Catchy melodies, tracks that fit respective moments. In fact, most of the tracks were progressive and change as you progress in the level and unlock new stuff. Oh, I could go on and on. The point is, this is honestly one of the best gaming soundtracks of the past decade, and there are a bunch of good contenders for that spot, so that should speak volumes itself for the quality of this game's soundtrack. Overall, it really doesn't need any saying. Y'all can probably see where this is going. Celeste is just so good in all aspects. It's not terribly long if you don't want it to be. It has an amazing story with cool locations and interesting exploration into rather mature themes. And it even has accessibility options for people who aren't into platformers but just want to experience this gorgeous game. It is honestly one of the best indie games I've seen come out of the 2010s. I haven't played all the good ones, and I'm not discrediting all of these extraordinary games that came out in this time, but Celeste, it's just fantastic. I really don't know what else to say.
Well, you could also say that it's also a good entry point into the speedrunning scene, casually and competitively. The developers made this game in the design of going fast once you complete the game, and even included an in-game timer to it as well. Heck, they even kept in all the glitches and skips found and not patched them out after discovery. Super Mario Odyssey. Well, I guess now's my time to say my spiel. I want to thank Lo for having me on this review. I absolutely love Celeste, as it's my favorite game of all time with its design, story, and music. And I'm glad we both got to gush about it from different angles. If you want to see me speedrun the game, I sometimes stream it on my channel if you want to see the intensity of that. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/KingJ0444 if you're curious. I stream every single day. But yeah, I'm not an ASMR channel, as I just showed. And I don't always just speedrun Celeste. I've actually been taking quite a bit of a break from it. I speedrun a bunch of other games, and I also am currently doing Let's Plays of other games. So again, youtube.com/KingJ0444, or you can just click the link in the description. I don't know, something like that.
That's all for this one. Thanks to Joey again for helping me out with this review and approaching it from a rather unique perspective. You can check the link in the description to see his channel, catch some of his awesome speedruns live on stream. They're actually super sick. This game is such a good speedrun. Whew, hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you all next time on Beating the Backlog. Oh shit.